Now, if you were watching on the 25th of June last summer, you'll have seen Lorraine Kelly and one of the Lorraine team, Helen Addis, talking about how Helen's breast cancer diagnosis inspired her brilliant Change and Check campaign to put stickers in changing rooms.
I was getting ready to come to work with Lorraine and I was at home having a shower, jumped out of the shower, putting on my moisturiser and stood in front of the mirror, and I just felt a lump under my right boob, and I had a mammogram biopsy, and then 4 days later, the rug was pulled from underneath me when I was told that, it's grade 3 aggressive breast cancer and that I'd have to go in for a mastectomy. So I thought, well, I saw it when I looked in a mirror. Where is an obvious place for the mirror? I thought, actually, in a changing room. We all go into changing rooms.
Now, fortunately, mum of two, Rebecca Wood, was watching that day, and it saved her life. Helen and Rebecca join us now, so a really warm welcome to both of you. Hello.
Hi, girls.
Hi.
Now, this is going to be a bit tricky because obviously you two are in different places. So I'll start with you, first of all, Rebecca. Tell us what happened when you were watching the show. You just had a baby, you were breastfeeding, and this is often a difficult time for women anyway because their breasts change.
Exactly. I was watching the show last summer. I was breastfeeding my daughter at the time. And listening to Helen's story just really resonated with me. I just recall her saying she was 39 when she was diagnosed. She was fit and healthy. She had no history of breast cancer. And it sounded like my circumstances. I used to always check myself, but since I had been breastfeeding my daughter, I got a bit complacent, perhaps. So as I was watching the show, I just checked myself and found what I thought was a blocked milk duct. That's what it felt like to me, but because it didn't hurt, I was a bit suspicious about it. So I contacted the doctor. Doctor did a manual examination and told me, I think you're exactly right. I think it's something to do with breastfeeding, but just to be extra sure, let's send you for an ultrasound scan. So he sent me for a scan, and I just remember lying on the bed and pleading with the lady to tell me that everything was okay. When are you going to tell me that it's fine? And she said, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not sure whether it's cancer or not. I'm going to do a biopsy and send that off. So that was then done, and effectively I was told after an agonising wait that in fact it was breast cancer. And it was something called DCIS, which is a very early stage breast cancer that thankfully I caught extremely early. However, it had just started to leave the milk duct, which is where it was, and invade the rest of the breast. So I had to have a full mastectomy and reconstruction, following which they then told me that, like Helen, it was an extremely aggressive form of breast cancer. It was a high-grade form of breast cancer. It was growing very rapidly inside of me. So I was just in absolute shock because I was low risk as far as I was concerned. I have no history in my family. I was running 3 or 4 times a week, very, very healthy. So it all came as a bit of a surprise. And quite frankly, if I hadn't been watching the show that day, I don't know when I would have next checked my breasts, because as I was breastfeeding, I just wasn't doing it at that time in my life. I didn't think it was something that I needed to, because I thought I was doing the best thing for my baby and for my body. So, yeah, I mean, effectively, Helen, watching you that day, it did save my life. I hate to think what would have happened, because it was just, like I say, starting to break out and be invasive at that stage, and we caught it.
And can I ask you how you are now?
I'm fine now, thank you. I've had an excellent prognosis by my oncologist. I've had chemotherapy treatment, which finished in January this year, and I am still having Herceptin injections, but I finish those in a couple of weeks, and I'm expected not to have any further treatment after that. So really well.
Good. And that's just wonderful to hear, really wonderful to hear, especially after the shock of diagnosis and then the treatment and everything else. So we're so happy to hear that. And Helen, who would have thought the difference that you would end up making, not only to, obviously, on the Lorraine show and the campaign that you've started, but all across the country?
I know, I'm absolutely blown away. And I just don't think I'll ever stop, Andrea. It's just become a real passion project of mine. I'm sure people are sick to death about me talking boobs all the time.
Never.
But just hearing Rebecca's story, it's case in point, you know, since we launched this campaign a year ago, I've had 37 women contact me to say that they found their cancer early as a direct result of seeing it. So, and they are all under the screening age. So it just goes to show it is so important, and especially, you know, during COVID times, remember your hand sanitizer, remember your mask, but also remember to check your boobs.
Well, Helen,
Helen,
oh,
sorry, go on.
Helen, I just wanted to ask you, because obviously your campaign, you know, the changing rooms and gyms, with the restrictions that are going on in lockdown now, how have you had to change that to raise the awareness to people that can't get into the changing rooms and the gyms to see the poster?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked me this, because obviously with the changes in place at the moment, it's been a bit challenging. So it got me thinking. One of the women that contacted me and said she found her cancer early was a postal worker. She was a postie. So I thought, Royal Mail, I'm going to give them a call. And you know, at Christmas, you get bespoke Christmas stamps. Well, I phoned them and said, is there any chance that you could make me a bespoke Royal Mail stamp with a queen's head and a pair of boobs? And they were like, I'm sorry, dear, it has to go via the royal household. I don't think Her Majesty will approve. But what they did agree to was a postmark. So starting today, every single piece of mail that goes out throughout the UK, there you go, there's a picture of it there, and that's me actually in the Royal Mail, one of their sorting offices, pressing the button to get the thing going. And so that's tens of millions of doorsteps that that's going to be winging its way to over the next week, which I'm just beyond thrilled about. And the other thing was, so lots of stores have taken it on, but what they're doing is putting it into their online shopping orders. And I was even dead cheeky and said to Monsoon, you know, you've got 00 in your name. Could we change the 00 to a pair of boobs just for a month? And they said yes.
Oh, you know, Helen, you're just awesome. I mean, obviously, I've known you for years from old, and it's just wonderful what you're doing now. We've run out of time and we've got to go to a break, but we do want to say that thank you to both of you for coming on the show today. And if you are sitting at home watching, please promise to check your breasts today. Don't be embarrassed. Do it right now. And this isn't just about women. Men can get breast cancer as well. We've got more information about Helen's amazing campaign and what to do if you are worried on our website.